Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to talk about the strange and terrifying extinct giants that once roamed the Americas. But before we get started, if you love anything to do with prehistoric creatures, make sure to stay updated for more content. And if you love it, maybe even consider supporting us. Now let's dive right into the video. Have you ever come across an animal so gigantic that it seems straight out of a fantasy novel? Picture this, a creature that's part sloth, part elephant, and wholly prehistoric. Welcome to the world of the extinct giant ground sloths. These gentle giants ruled the Americas during the Pleistocene epoch, which lasted from around 2.6 million to 11,700 years ago. They were true titans, weighing as much as 5 adult humans and standing up to 6 feet tall when standing on their hind legs. Yet despite their imposing stature, these creatures were surprisingly plant-eaters. Their primary weapon was not a sharp set of teeth or claws, but their powerful claws, which could easily rip open tree trunks and tear down whole branches. With their thick fur coats, they were perfectly adapted for surviving cold winters and could even endure icy conditions. And their brains, although smaller than modern-day elephants, were larger than those of most primates. They walked the earth for over 2 million years, living alongside dinosaurs and witnessing major environmental shifts, including the formation of the Isthmus of Panama. But the story of the giant ground sloth is not just about their physical attributes. It's a tale of adaptation, survival, and ultimately extinction. Join us as we delve into the fascinating world of these prehistoric giants. From their humble beginnings in South America to their eventual disappearance, we'll explore what made these creatures so unique and what factors led to their demise. Along the way, we'll uncover some of the latest research and discoveries related to the giant ground sloths, shedding new light on these enigmatic animals. So sit back, relax, and prepare to be amazed by the incredible story of the extinct giant ground sloths. The dawn of the Megatherium. The story of the giant sloth begins in South America during the Eocene epoch, which lasted from about 56 to 34 million years ago. This was a time when the continent was still part of the supercontinent Gondwana and when primates were just beginning to diversify. The first species of giant sloth arrived in the Americas via the northwest coast, likely from what is now Africa. These early sloths were much smaller than their descendants, but they already exhibited some of the key adaptations that would allow them to become the dominant herbivores in the Americas. One of the most striking features of these early sloths was their large size. While the exact size of these creatures is debated among paleontologists, they were clearly larger than modern-day sloths, which typically weigh between 9 and 20 pounds. This would have given them an advantage in their struggle for survival, allowing them to compete for resources and defend themselves against predators. Another important adaptation was their powerful claws. Unlike most other mammals of their time, the giant sloths had long, curved claws that could easily rip open tree trunks and tear down whole branches. This would have been a huge benefit in the lush rainforests that dominated South America at the time. And there is evidence that suggests that these early giant sloths were already starting to diversify, with some species developing specialized diets. For example, some may have fed primarily on leaves, while others preferred to eat fruit. This dietary flexibility would have helped them to survive in a wide range of environments and would ultimately contribute to their success. Shaping the landscape. As the Eocene epoch progressed, the giant sloths continued to thrive, eventually becoming the dominant herbivores in the Americas. They were perfectly adapted for life in the New World, where they had few natural enemies and plenty of food to eat. In fact, their sheer size and strength allowed them to shape the landscape itself. Some species of giant sloth, such as the megalodon, were so large that they were capable of knocking down entire trees. This would have cleared large areas of land, creating open spaces in the forest that would have been used by other animals. Their grazing also had a major impact on the plants around them. Since they were not picky eaters, they consumed vast quantities of vegetation, which would have affected the distribution and abundance of plant species throughout their range. Despite their enormous size, the giant sloths were surprisingly fast. They were able to move through the forest with ease, thanks to their long strides and powerful limbs. Some sources suggest that they could move at speeds of up to 40 miles per hour, making them one of the fastest mammals of their time. Their agility would have been another factor in their success, allowing them to escape predators and access new sources of food. But their reign at the top of the food chain did not last forever. Around 11,700 years ago, the Pleistocene epoch came to an end, and with it, the giant ground sloth went extinct. There are many theories as to why this happened, but the most likely culprits are climate change and overhunting by humans. As the climate changed, the forests that the sloths depended on for food and shelter began to disappear. And as humans spread throughout the Americas, they may have hunted the giant sloths for their meat or for sport. Whatever the reason, the giant ground sloths disappeared, leaving behind only their bones and the legends that still live on today. But the story of the giant ground sloth does not end there. Their fossils have been found all over the Americas, from Canada to Argentina, providing valuable insights into their behavior and evolution. In recent years, scientists have made some fascinating discoveries about the giant ground sloths. For example, a study published in 2018 used high-resolution computed tomography scans to reconstruct the skull of a giant ground sloth. The study revealed that the sloth had a much stronger bite force than previously thought, which may have allowed it to consume tougher vegetation. Another study published in 2020 used stable isotope analysis to determine the diet of a giant ground sloth. The study found that the sloth primarily ate C3 plants, which are typically found in shady areas with moderate rainfall. This suggests that the giant ground sloth preferred to live in lowland forests rather than in mountainous or arid regions. It's important to note that while the giant ground sloth is often depicted as a slow-moving, dim-witted creature, the reality was quite different. Like most mammals, the giant ground sloth gave birth to live young, which is a trait that is more commonly found in agile and intelligent animals. Additionally, the giant ground sloth had excellent eyesight and hearing, which would have been essential for detecting predators or potential mates. Lastly, their intelligence is evidenced by their ability to use tools. There is evidence that some species of giant ground sloth used sticks to scratch themselves or to swat away flies. This behavior is rarely seen in non-human animals and is usually indicative of a high level of intelligence. The giant ground sloth is a truly fascinating creature that played a major role in shaping the history of the Americas. Their enormous size, strength, and intelligence allowed them to thrive for millions of years, but ultimately they were unable to survive the changing climate and the arrival of humans. By studying their fossils and learning more about their behavior, we can gain a deeper appreciation for these gentle giants and the legacy they left behind. We hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new about the amazing extinct giant ground sloths. If you did, please don't forget to stay updated for more prehistoric content. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.